What is actually the meaning of mental conditioning and how does it work?
If I don't condition my mind, how will I give myself the best chance of achieving something in my mind so that I can go through the struggles, the challenges that I'm obviously going to face in the journey towards achieving something?
How someone can avoid distraction and focus on the gameplay?
Focus on what we need to do. And that's why it's called as ekagrata, right? In Sanskrit, that
Ekagrata.
is the word
Exactly.
ekagrata.
How important it is to do the open communication with the players. Welcome to our podcast. Today we are joined by Dr. Swaroop Savanur, one of the India's leading mental conditioning and peak performance coach. With 20 years of experience, his work with the top athletes from IPL, Olympic teams, and national academics has created an impact. So let's dig out what actually it really takes to train a mind like a champion. Let's get started. Welcome, Dr. Swaroop, sir.
Thank you.
So before we get into this topic, I want to know about what excites you about being a mental coach in sports.
See, what excites me, whether it's a sportsman, a student, whether it's a young adult or a professional, what excites me is the ability to help a person discover his potential and then actually create a process by which he can reach that potential and not just stop at that, but go beyond the potential that that person did not even know. That is the exciting part about mental training, about mental coaching, performance coaching, and that's exactly what I do. What cannot be exciting about this, right?
Exactly, I agree. What is actually the meaning of mental conditioning and how does it work?
See, let us say, for example, let me put it very simple.
Okay.
Um, if you want to condition our body, right? Let us say, I say I want to condition my body. What does that mean?
Taking care of?
Taking care of? Is conditioning taking care of? No,
Maybe.
right?
Okay.
Conditioning is you're conditioning yourself for something,
Right.
right? So you're going beyond the normal and trying to do something extra, right? So
Right.
so when you say I want to run a marathon, what will you do? You will condition your body so that you are equipping yourself to run a marathon. Do you agree? So
Yeah.
what will you do
Agree.
for conditioning? Physical conditioning, you will go to the gym,
Right.
right? Can you go to the gym only once? You cannot.
Yeah, because if I want to run the marathon,
You'll
so
have
I need to
to
be exactly.
you have to condition your body to go to the gym, build your small muscles, your big muscles, develop your endurance, develop your stamina, and to a
Right.
point where you feel that okay, physically I'm ready to run the marathon, right? So I'm
Agree.
physically conditioning myself to run the marathon.
Okay.
Similarly, I want to achieve something in life. If I want to achieve something in life, what will I need to condition? My mind.
Mind. Exactly.
If I don't condition my mind, how will I give myself the best chance of achieving something? I'm risking it.
Right.
Just as if I don't go to the gym, I will risk myself by not running the marathon successfully. Similarly, if I want to achieve something in life, I will need to do something in my mind so that I can go through the struggles, the challenges that I'm obviously going to face in the journey towards achieving something,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So, in a marathon, it's let us say 42 kilometers. So, for that 42 kilometers, the challenge is in the first 10 kilometers, then in the next 10 kilometers, in the next 10 kilometers, and then the finish line. Each of those challenges are different, and I need to be physically ready to fight and succeed in those physical challenges.
Agree.
The same is with the mind. For me to achieve something, there are going to be different challenges that I'm going to have. Sometimes at the start, sometimes in the middle, sometimes as I'm nearing that achievement. And for that, I need to equip my mind by conditioning it to be ready to face those challenges, or else I'm risking
Risking it
all
all.
the things
Exactly.
that I'm doing. This is mental conditioning.
Okay, so it's like preparing your mind to know about obstacles and doing it well for
You
the
can say
further.
that.
Yes. Do you think building a strong mindset is important for an athlete? And any case study that you have come across supporting this?
It is not a question of whether I think or not.
Okay.
It is not even important. It is beyond that. There is
Okay.
no option but to do that.
Building a strong mindset.
Yes. How can you play at the highest level without having a strong mind?
Hmm.
Tell
True.
me one player who has succeeded without a strong mind.
That
Not
is also
possible.
there.
So it is not a question of being important.
It is.
That option is only not there.
You need to do that.
How are you going to do that?
Exactly.
Right? You will have to build a strong mindset. And athletes already have strong mindsets. That is why they are athletes.
Hmm.
Because an athlete's journey is a very tough journey. He has to practice every day. He has to sacrifice his food. He has to, go through so many hardships to reach a certain stage. So an athlete already has a strong mind. They are not coming to me to develop a strong mind. They are coming to me to enhance the
That
strong
mindset.
mind that they already have and apply it in various different situations that they are going to face, so that they will reach and maintain and be at that highest level of success that they want. That is why athletes who already have a strong mindset but want to build is exactly where the work is,
Exactly.
right?
Enhancing the power of like building something
Yes,
strong.
yes.
Exactly. We all know that losing is all part, not just in sports but in normal life, right? But what impact can losing actually have on an athlete mental and emotional well-being, and how they can cope up from that
See, we say that losing is a part of an athlete's
journeys?
journey, but is losing really a part of the journey? We say it so easily, right? Losing is a part of life of an athlete. How difficult is losing?
It
Is it
is.
is it difficult?
Yeah, it
In
is.
normal life, is losing difficult? It is
Mm,
not. Let us say tomorrow you lose 500 rupees. Will it
okay.
hurt you? It'll hurt you, right?
Exactly. It will hurt me.
It'll hurt you,
Yeah,
right?
it will hurt
So
me.
losing anything is hurtful. So what we need to understand is whenever we lose, there is going to be some hurt,
Hmm.
right? That's It's not going to be a physical hurt. It's going to be some kind of an
Some kind of
emotional hurt.
mental, right?
So an athlete is also obviously going to feel hurt. So when we say that losing is a part of an athlete's journey, we almost try to make it frivolous, right? That
Right.
okay, losing is a part. उसमें क्या है? इतनी बड़ी चीज नहीं है. It's okay. It's okay to lose. No, it's not okay to lose.
I know. I
It's
agree with
terrible to
that.
lose.
You feel worst. You feel worst.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
it's terrible to lose. So
But
you don't want to lose.
exactly.
But at the same time, you know that the nature of sport is such
Exactly.
that you will lose. So on one side, you know you're going to lose. Therefore, losing is a part of an athlete's journey.
Right.
But on another side,
It's not okay. It's just you are knowing
yeah,
that you can
exactly.
lose.
Just
Right.
because you know you're going to lose, if you make it okay for you to lose, then
No, it's
it
not going
is
to
not
work.
okay, right? You need to know how to manage your mind when you lose, because you're obviously going to feel hurt. And I feel that hurt is an important part of losing. If you don't feel hurt, there's a problem.
This is a problem. Exactly.
You got to feel hurt, and you will feel hurt whether you like it or not when you lose, right? So it's not a
Right.
big deal.
You just
If
need to come
that
out of the lose.
losing and the emotional aspect of that losing, if it impacts you so much that you stop believing in yourself, that it affects your practice, it affects your motivation, it takes your confidence down, then it is a problem, right? Because then the emotional baggage of losing is affecting you beyond what it should, isn't it?
Right.
And that is a problem. But in per se, yes, you're going to lose, and that losing is going to impact you, and you should have a process of learning how to
Cope up with.
lose, not cope up, how to lose successfully,
Okay. Yeah, I got that point.
right? So it is about losing, knowing that you're going to lose, but still not okay to lose. You got to learn from it so that you will make new mistakes but prevent the earlier mistakes. And what is the process of losing properly, right? That is exactly a very important part of mental training and mental coaching.
So how does it goes, like the process?
How does the
How does the process goes?
so it's a see, any process will have its steps, right? So the step is for a player to first identify why did he lose, right? Which aspect of the game that the player did not perform well in. So there is a discovery phase. So in that discovery the phase, the player will understand, okay, what happened.
Right.
Then the player will say, okay, is this something that I already knew but could not execute, or I did not have it only in me as a skill? And then can I add it into my game? When can I add it into my game? If I'm still into tournament, I cannot make too many changes, right? So I'll have to add it after, let us say, in the off season, right? So it depends upon what you learn from that loss, and then how do you then apply it in your game, right? So there's a process for it. But the second thing is that every player is different. So every player is going to look at that loss in a different way. That's where the player's personality comes into picture, right? How the player is perceiving. Now it also depends upon where he has lost. If a player has lost a practice match, or let us say a small tournament, it's not going to affect him a lot. But let us say if a player has gone at World Championship, that World Championship is going to happen once in 2 years. Then what happens? He's going to have to wait for 2 years more, or Olympics after 4 years. Then the loss is extremely bad, right? Because the player has to wait. He doesn't know. Player doesn't know whether he's going to go back again.
Right.
So you can imagine the enormity of the loss and how much it must be affecting the player. So then it affects the player even more deeply, right? So there's various factors which will involve, that is going to determine uh, how to go about the losing process and yet come out of it in a positive way.
Exactly. That's very well said, because both the loses we can't compare it, because someone losing a practice match and someone losing a world champion, it would totally be different.
Very true.
Exactly. How someone can avoid distraction and focus on the gameplay? Because it happens with me, not just in a game. Like distractions is just a quick thing. Like I'm doing something and I'm distracted by something, but I know I need to be focused on this thing. How we can do that?
See, I think so. Our mind is always getting distracted, right? Our mind always tends to think other things, right? Mind is always shifting. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that that time, written 15,000 years back by Lord Krishna, who said that a mind moves in 1,000 directions. That is what is written in the Bhagavad Gita. So it is a nature of the mind to be distracted, right? And it is for us to consciously create a process by which we can focus on one thing. Because the mind is going to get distracted whether you like it or not, right? And we need to have a process by which we control our focus and focus on what we need to do. And that's why it's called as ekagrata, right? In Sanskrit, that is the word, ekagrata, single minded focus.
Yes.
Now, in this age that we are in, these distractions are even more. We are losing the ability to be focused on that one thing that we want to do. Whether it's a student wanting to study, whether it's an athlete who wants to focus on their game or their practice, or whether the common man who wants to, do something and wants to do something. The distractions are preventing him from being
Doing that.
focused. So, all the more in today's world, it is important to learn how I can be focused on what I really want to do and get away from things that I don't want to do. Let us say, for example, today people say that, oh, I wish I could do this or do that. But to do this or do that, I will need to create time for it. People say, no, I don't have time. But ask yourself, there is so much of time with you, right? Instead of surfing social media, instead of binge watching OTT serials, that time you can easily spend or invest rather in doing something that you want to do. But how difficult is it to do? It is very difficult to focus at that time, but it's very easy to binge watch.
Yeah, someone can watch straight 4 hours
4
into binge
hours, right? So
watching.
that is ekagrata and distraction,
Distractions.
right?
Exactly.
So it's very easy to be focused when you are distracted, because that
True.
distraction is something that is giving you false pleasure, not true pleasure, false pleasure,
Pleasures.
right? So you will be nicely watching for 4 hours, you'll be binge watching, beautifully concentrating on that without even moving your eye here and there. But you pick up a book and say, okay, I always wanted to read a book. Open the page, within 2 pages, your mind is running here and there, because reading requires focus, watching requires very less focus,
Right.
right? So I think so in today's world, for everyone, having that ability to have deep, uninterrupted, single minded focus on a daily basis is a very critical requirement for success,
I agree.
which in today's world is becoming even more difficult. And more importantly, it's about developing such habits, right? It is not about doing it for one day. You might say, okay, I want to do this for one day. One day you can do it. 2 days you might. 3 days, sort of.
It would break eventually.
But after 5 days, after 6 days, you'll go back to your
Same routine.
earlier habits. So, about how consistent you are in developing these habits. That is what is most important. And that is what is again most difficult to do. And that is why you will find 1,000 followers, but only few achievers. Right?
Yes.
And those few achievers are able to do something what the followers are not able to do. Why? Because they have got this ability to be focused on what they are doing without interruption on a daily consistent basis,
Consistency.
right? And I
Right.
think so that is where it matters. And for an athlete also it matters a lot.
Right.
Whether you are playing in the game, you will be distracted by the weather, the environment, by how the player is, by the umpires, right? That affects them. Off the game, they are affected by, whether they are performing well, not performing well, what's going to happen. And for them also, they will need to learn a method by which they can stick to their goals, have that focus. So it's all about developing these things in your life as a way of being, as a way of who you are as a person,
Exactly.
right?
Right. Is aggression good in sports, like particularly on the field, or like does it like is it beneficial trait for an athlete, or does it pose risk than benefit?
What do you mean by aggression?
Aggression, emotions when we show on the ground physically, by verbally or by physically, I would count as an aggression.
So I think so. If you're saying aggression as in going and fighting with someone,
Or that one.
that is a different kind of an
That is
aggression.
different.
So let us say, for example, a famous, if you want to look at aggression, we have got two kinds of, let us look at cricket, aggression in cricket. Uh, you will have a person like, let us say, Gautam Gambhir, right, who is current India's head
Head
coach.
coach.
He would always be very aggressive, talk back to the bowlers who are staring at him, right? Because that was his personality. But Sachin Tendulkar was different. Whenever, I still remember when Glenn McGrath, the great Australian fast bowler, who used to, was a great bowler, very aggressive, and used to ball bouncers and used to find it tough. And he used to talk to Sachin, purposely pin him to do
Right.
something stupid. But Sachin he used to never say anything. He never opened his mouth. All he did was just look back at him, and the next ball he used to ensure that he hit for a four. Right? So his aggression was through action. So it is how you show your aggression is more important. Virat Kohli is a very aggressive athlete. That works for him. Right? That is why. So you should ensure that whatever your aggressive trait is, if you call it as a trait, but you should ensure that that aggressive trait is not harming you but helping you. If that aggression is harming you, then it is of no use, right? Then that is a liability that you have, that you will need to control. But if you can identify your aggressive sweet spot and use it in your game in a tactical manner, in the right manner, then you can use it to your advantage. It can become a great weapon. to
Right.
either push yourself in the game, to take the opponent, suddenly make the opponent lose their focus. So
Right.
you can be smart about using aggression. So of course
Aggressions.
there is no doubt, any sport you are going to be aggressive. Even a game like chess, if you look at
Yes, it is.
Magnus, you are going to be an aggressive player. Now, how are you going to be an aggressive player in chess? Are you fighting? No. Are you moving your hand? You're not even moving your hand. But it's the way you're putting your moves, the way you're quickly pressing that time button, right? So all of these small things also play an important role in how aggressive you are.
Hmm.
So aggression comes in very different forms, but the bottom line is you should allow, you should prevent aggression from affecting you, and you should use your aggression in a right way to uh, you know ensure that it helps you.
Right, very rightly said. It's like the aggression. You need to find out ki if aggression is helping you. Like in Virat Kohli case, it always helps him. Like he just pull out and he just do that 6-6. We still remember that India, Pakistan, and Australia. So it's the great thing to watch, even that aggression side of it.
Right.
Athlete, we all know it's they are famous. They are going to be in public eye, and yeah, the pressure could be intense at that time. What's your way, like how do you help athletes in a training way to manage that criticism which comes from the fame, particularly when they are facing any setbacks or no, they are not performing well.
Very true. So whenever athlete is faced with criticism, it is going to affect them.
Mm.
So I think so. I always tell my athletes, but more importantly, it is not easy, of course, but to train them to be level minded about success and failure. When you are level minded about success and failure, even if you get success, you are not becoming bigger in your mind than who you are. And therefore, even if you fail or you're out of form or people start criticizing you, you don't take yourself so badly or criticize yourself beyond what is beyond the objective criticism or that you need to do. So either ways you are in that level headed state. So that is very important. The second thing is you should know uh, whom you should listen to and whom you should not listen to. If criticism is coming from people who are the public, right, they are always going to criticize you, and they are always also the people who are going to
Cheer you up.
cheer you up also. They're both sides. And if you accept one aspect of them, which is they are sometimes are really backing you, and then you've got to take the bouquets with the brick bats, right, so to say. The third is you should always have a way to know what you are getting criticized about. Is it being criticized about your professional game or your personal game? And you should know how to divide the line between professional game and personal game, right? There's nobody that needs to come in your personal life at all unless you are allowing that to happen. But if there's somebody's criticizing about their professional game, and it's people's opinion finally, it's not your opinion. You don't have to agree to
Exactly.
what people have to say, right? So you should know whom to listen to and whom not to listen to. So if you have these 3 to 4 ways in which you can look at criticism, you'll always, you'll get less affected by it,
True.
right?
You don't need to believe exactly what people are saying. It's just not
Absolutely.
none of your business to do that. I agree. I was just thinking some scenarios which literally came into my mind because it deeply affects even if we try to ignore. But yeah, whenever
Absolutely.
people says, even in not just in sports, even when people say something to you, you just started to look yourself. Oh, am I doing this? So it's the best thing that you don't need to believe what they are saying it exactly.
Yes.
How important it is to do the open communication with the players
Who may you're talking from a coach point of view or player with a player point of view?
from a coach.
You got to have open communication. It's a collaborative need, right? If the communication, the what do you say? There has to be mutual respect for healthy communication to happen.
Right.
And I think so. Without communication, how are you going to connect to players? And how is a player going to be able to connect to you?
Like at that period of time, like you would comfort a player, like okay, you have done well, or you would be directly like be openly communicative. Okay, there you were wrong there. So like that.
See, I feel that there is no right or wrong in sport. Nevertheless, right?
Agree.
You make decisions on the in the game.
The
Sometimes they
situations.
work for you, sometimes they don't work for you. Sometimes later on you realize that you have made a mistake, and sometimes some mistakes you've made, but you still uh, don't suffer the consequences. So I think so. For me, it is not about right or wrong and tell him you have done wrong or something of that sort. It is about the finally it is about the player. Player is playing. I am not playing. So it is for the player to understand what he's done right, what he could have done better, right? And again, there is a process in which you build this communication. With different athletes, it's different. At different levels, it is different. There's so many things to discuss with the player, right? And it is done in a stepwise manner.
Stepwise.
But communication, of course, if a player is coming in, again, it is not a question of important. It's a relationship. In any relationship, whether it's a friend relationship, it's a husband-wife relationship, or it's a coach or a athlete relationship, without communication, there is going to be no relationship, isn't it?
Right.
Because without the fact that a athlete is come to you means that the athlete inherently trusts you for the work that you're doing with the athlete, and therefore through that trust comes communication. So right communication is nevertheless the scaffolding over which the whole work is getting established, right? If the right communication is not there, then nevertheless the trust is not going to be there, and the player is not going to be working with you.
Agree.
Right? And I feel that is true not just for a coach athlete, that is true for anything and everyone in the world, right?
Right. With
For
every
he-
relationship,
for
healthy
every
communication.
relationship, there needs to be right communication with the right amount of trust. Wrong communication is going to lead to a breakage of trust, and that is going to lead to a wear out of the relationship. Right?
Right.
So I think so. Communication in human life is one of the most important aspects.
Yes.
Right, of living successfully.
Successfully, exactly. uh, Building a confidence, like when a player who lose the confidence and building it all over again, we know that it's not that going to be easy. So at that point of time, like what's your method to motivate a player who lost confidence or feel like I'm not that much confident right now for playing something or anything?
See, I think so. What is confidence? Confidence is nothing but that ability of you doing what you need to do. When I lose that feeling that I am able to do what I need to do in the game, when I lose that feeling, then it's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah,
Right? I am
it's
going to
definitely
feel uncomfortable. I'm going to, my mind is going to start overthinking. I'm going to feel self doubts.
yes.
I will be nervous naturally as a result of that. And so the a simple method is is to make the player go through understanding what are the things that he already knows and how he should go about executing it in the match. Finally, that is the simplest thing, right? This is the principle. The principle is this, right? I will control what I need to control. That's confidence. If I focus on the things that I can't control, it will lead me to feel unconfident, right? Let us say we are having this conversation.
Right.
If let us say, are you confident right now?
Yeah.
You're confident. Why? Because you're not going to think how I'm going to talk to you, how the people who are going to view you. But tomorrow, if you think, oh, what's going to happen, whether they like this, am I talking properly? What is going to happen? Your confidence is going to reduce.
Right.
Because you're thinking about things that probably you cannot control. So confidence is, so whenever you want to make an athlete feel confident, it's about reminding him about the things that the player can control. But this is the principle. It's very easy to talk about all this, isn't it? Right now we are in the
Right.
studio in this beautiful AC place.
It's not
It's
that
very
on field
easy
it does a
to
good
talk about
different.
this. But when it comes to actually implementing and training the player on being confident all the time, that is a very different scenario. So there are a lot of steps that need to be taken.
Yeah.
So that the player can really feel confident when he's really feeling that pressure of performance. That is a very different thing, because it's natural for your mind to get distracted about what's going to happen in the match, about those self doubts that are going to happen. So at that time, how do I maintain my confidence? Right? It's a very different thing. So there are different tools, mental
Right.
tools that we apply.
Kind
Uh,
of.
Different tools. So there we provide visualization
Okay.
tools. There are different breathing techniques. There are cognitive tools that we need to give to the player. How they are going to think about it, right? So all of these tools need to be given. So we need to identify which tool is going to be beneficial for that player. So there is a process of understanding. Okay, these are the things that are going to help you, and then the player has to practice it, apply it in practice, so that over a period of time the player is going to actually use that tool and help him be confident whenever it is required. So just as you are training your skills, right? A coach will teach you a skill. You have to practice it, right?
Right.
Only then
Every
you
day it's like.
every day or whatever. Similarly, it's with the mind. You have got to train your mind, right?
Right.
That's why this is mental training and less of psychology. You train your mind so that you can use these various tools and techniques in the right way. And the more you apply it, the more you will start using it in matches. And when that happens, you will know how to come back and become confident when you are
Confident.
losing your confidence.
Right.
But these are these are steps which you need to be individualized for an athlete, right? What works for you will not
Doesn't
work for
work.
somebody else,
Yeah.
isn't it? Then your personality is different from that other person. Your level is different from that other
Cognitive
person.
abilities and everything are
Everything is different,
right.
right? And that is where uh, the skill of a coach comes into play. How you're going to do that in the best possible and shortest possible manner.
India ranks 13th among G20 countries. A report by Think Sport Index recently came it out. How can we build strong focus on promoting the sports participation in India? Like
No, I
your
think
thoughts
so.
on
The
that?
government of India is doing an unbelievable job
Yes.
in promoting sports. In the history of our country, for the first time, we have got a government who is fully, solidly behind sports, and not just behind sports by talking about it, but through action. In the last 10 years, the Modi government has ensured that we have got Khelo India as a policy.
Exactly.
We have got different sports missions that are in place. The infrastructure across the board is absolutely brilliant. Players are getting cash incentives that are directly going into a player's account from the government, right? So that they keep playing the sport. Those who have won the Khelo India championships, right? So each and every aspect of this is allowing India to become big on the sports map. Now, just very recently, the national sports policy was actually tabled and successfully passed in the parliament. So again, this is all game changing for Indian sports, and there is no doubt that in the next 10 to 15 years, India will be extremely powerful in
In
sports.
sports.
Today we are powerful in cricket, but in the next 10 to 15 years, India is going to be a powerhouse in sports across multiple sports, including the Olympic sports.
Right. Even chess, kabaddi, pro kabaddi leagues, they are happening on like widely range. So it's good actually. Like the main media is covering kabaddis and all, like, so we know that ki, okay, this part is going. Even for the chess thing, the boost for the chess this chess competition right now, it happened world champion. It was quietly great on social media and across all the government
Right.
side platforms also. So that is also a great initiative by their side.
Yes.
Players like Serena Williams, Simone Biles, we have seen them, doing the self talk before their gameplay. Why it is important? Like why it is considered to be important, that self talk, doing that self talk.
See, either you can talk to your mind or the mind can talk to you,
The best line.
right? And sometimes your mind will not talk to you in the way that you want to be heard. Sometimes your mind will talk to you in a wrong way. Again, I will go back to the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna said, your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy, right? So sometimes your mind will tell you things that you don't want to hear. And if the mind tells you things that you don't want to hear, you need to tell your mind, stop this. I don't want to hear it.
Hmm.
This is what I'm going to hear. That is self talk, nothing else. That is why you
In
need
simplest
to,
language.
right? That is what you need to do. That is why you need to talk to your mind, talk to yourself. So, and repeat important statements or
Affirmations.
affirmations that we call or words, so that you will hear only what you want to hear, right? And keep your mind under control,
Right.
right? That is why self talk is an important part of uh, a player's mindset, you can say.
How to stop a player who gets frustrated and taking all out on themselves or on other people, like taking out all the frustration. How can you stop that player? So,
From
taking out all the frustration on themselves firstly, or maybe on
how
others.
will a player take frustration and out on himself means?
Himself in sense like either they are harming themselves, either they are blaming themselves for what happened. Okay, for a point that you said ki beyond that limit you are criticize yourself, okay, but after that you shouldn't be doing that, right?
Yes.
So how can someone stop that?
Yes, so I think so. If a player is continuously failing or feeling judged
Hmm.
by others, then then guilt starts taking over you, that I am not good enough. There is a problem with me, right? And then through that guilt comes lowered self-esteem. The
Right.
player's self-esteem goes down, and when that happens, the player obviously can go into self-harm, can do wrong things just out of frustration because they don't know what else to do. But that is the lowest part of the player's journey, where if they don't have the right support from their family, from the friends, then they can feel alone, because it's a very lonely journey.
Hmm.
And if the people around cannot understand what they are going through, then of course the player does go into substance abuse, goes into self harm, as I said, and all of that can affect a player. So I think so it's important that the player does not reach there at all, ideally.
Hmm.
And that is one of the important work that we do with players, is again to ensure that the player beyond a certain limit dissociates his life from only being a sports person. He's also a person and he's a sports person, right?
Right.
So I can still continue with my life the way I am going, and then I'm also a sports person by profession. But if I'm not able to separate the two, right, and I feel that only this is the only thing or this is the only definition of success for me, then it becomes very difficult for me to live a normal life. And
Hmm.
then
Right.
that obviously takes the player down. But again, this is very easy for us to say over here. But for
Yes.
a player who at the age of 20 and 22 has made this into a profession, this is my profession, this is what I want to do in my life, but sees a road which is absolutely uncertain as a future, keeps losing or not getting the success as much as the player wants, and then sees others players performing better than him or her, that affects and that starts making a player become even more frustrated, right?
Hmm.
And then when that happens, of course the player goes into a down spiral, and where that is a very big, that is the danger for athletes when they go into that trap of lowered self-esteem and self-harm and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And I
Right.
think so that is exactly where, that is why we still look at a mental conditioning coach as a thing that needs to come in only when a player reaches that point. I think so we need to change that, right?
Agree.
Just as an athlete has a coach, athlete has a mental physical trainer and a strength and conditioning coach. Today athletes need to have a mental conditioning coach as part of their team, because you're going to fall, but as soon as you fall you need to know that okay, there is a way to get back up. You don't fall so much, because the more you fall the more time is going to take back up. So you're doing everything else but risking the most important part of your journey. Why would you
Hmm.
do that?
Exactly. It is important to have that mental coach. Like
No, it is not
I,
important, it is imperative.
yeah, imperatives for three things. It is imperative, right? Agree. It is because whenever I used to see the matches, obviously some kind of matches are like would be for India winning, but some kind of matches would be like India is losing. Some kind of matches, and not just in cricket, but even in side of chess, even in side of any sport. If you pick, it is important to have that. Not important, necessary to have that mental coach. Agree. Now we have a this versus that series, so you need to choose any one option and you need to say why you are going to choose that. Okay, so which feedback style you prefer personally? If you want to give to the athletes, what's your feedback style?
I am giving a feedback to an athlete.
Athlete, exactly.
Okay.
So what would be your, like, it would be constructive criticism or positive reinforcement?
Constructive criticism.
Why?
Because I feel that an athlete needs to hear both sides of the story, right? Criticism is not wrong if it is given in the right way. Okay, to say that okay, we are always going to be positive is being stupid. Right? I
Right.
don't think so. We need to be positive all the time. We need to tell the player the positive things, and we need to tell the player the things that they need to do better at. And if we don't tell them, who's going to tell them? So
Right.
constructive criticism is a better way than positive reinforcement.
Okay.
If I had to choose one, at the same time, sometimes although you want to tell the criticize,
Right.
that time is not right. So then positive reinforcement is also a very important part of it, where you don't criticize the player at that time. So again, since you asked me which I would choose, I give the answer of constructive criticism.
Okay. Old school drills or data driven coaching, if you would be.
See, again, if you ask me either one of the
One
two,
better for now.
there is no doubt that data driven coaching has is a very critical part, because then you know what the data is telling you, you can measure it, and accordingly you are managing a player's uh, training in the right way. For example, earlier in cricket, if I see, because I've worked with the National Cricket Academy for many years. Earlier, players used to ball, but now, as much as they want, only when they used to get tired, they used to stop. But now everything is data driven. So players, based on their body type or the injuries or how many overs they have balled yesterday, accordingly their body is managed. Their
Right.
amount is managed. So that's called as load management. Okay, how much you are loading, right? So especially this is important for fast bowlers, because fast bowlers tend to get injured a lot. So load management has come from data. Because we have got data, we can identify, okay, beyond a certain number of overs, it's the player's risk of injury is more. That is why they are managing load. So that is why, for example, in the recently concluded test match, right, although Bumrah we know is such an important part of our team, right, our main bowler, but still he was rested for 2 test matches.
Right.
Why? Because the data was telling that if you would play more, in the short term he would probably help us win matches, but in the long term there would be a serious risk of injury. So that is why today data driven training and coaching has become more important than just old schools drills of just doing what you feel like.
Exactly. Strict discipline or flexible motivation?
See, strict discipline, I feel that athlete needs to be disciplined. So I think so discipline is at one level very important part, but I think so more than strict discipline, it should be self discipline, right? You should know what you need to be disciplined about and where you need to be flexible about.
Right.
That demarcation is more important than anything else. So I feel that when for areas which you need to be disciplined, you need to be strict on that. And for areas you can be flexible, yes, you can be flexible while motivating yourself to ensure that you don't go beyond a certain level.
Dominant victory or underdog win?
Meaning dominant?
Dominant victory, like dominant, say we are winning that series or match, anything. Or underdog win, like itna nahi close.
Right.
We have
So I
just
think so dominant win is always better than underdog, because India has been underdog for long. Right. We always naturally root the underdog, right? A person who is weaker, we always want that weaker to win. Right? Gives us a different kind of a high. But it's enough, na?
Yeah,
Now
India is now
it's
leading
time
it.
for us to be dominant, show that dominance and win with dominance.
Agree,
So
agree.
I would prefer that than being
Dominating.
the underdogs.
Dominant
It's our
victory.
time to make other countries and other athletes feel underdogs, and we become dominant.
Agree. Totally. Nowadays, people are more glued to gadgets that we have discussed, social media, Netflix. Uh, why there is a need to change that? Because people are not, that much participating in outdoor, or people are going, but again, not that much. So, why there is a need to change that, and how can someone turn out this? Like, if someone wants to go, but they are like, oh, I don't want to do that. So, how can then turn over this?
See, I think so. Gadgets should not control your life.
Mm.
If a gadget is controlling your life, then it's a problem, right? For that, your priorities should be very clear. What do you want to do in your life right now? If you want to achieve something, you'll have to control your gadgets. But if you wish for achieving something, if you hope for achieving something, if you pray for achieving something, but if you do not take the steps for achieving something, how are you going to achieve it?
Rightly said.
Right? And if you want to take the steps for achieving something, you will have to keep that gadget down. As simple as that. No pain, no gain.
No
And if
pain,
you
no gain.
feel
I
that
agree
keeping
that.
a gadget down is painful, you got to do what you got to do if you want to gain
Hmm.
something in life. Or have the short term gain of keep watching what you want to watch. But remember that it's a choice you're making.
It's a
Tomorrow you can
choice
get back and cry about it because you made that choice
today.
of wasting your time
Right.
and keep watching it. That's a choice that you are making.
Hmm.
So you better be ready for the consequences. See, with choice always comes consequence,
True.
right? Any choice has its consequences. Good or bad is the only thing.
Hmm.
So
Right.
if you are an adult above 18 years,
Hmm.
right, you are making a conscious choice of spending time looking at those gadgets, looking at social media, and still getting frustrated at wanting to achieve something. That's a bad choice. You're going to be faced with bad consequences,
Exactly.
right? You got to be responsible for your life first. Simple. When you are responsible for your life and for the achievements and the dreams that you want, you'll automatically say, okay, this is something that I am enjoying, but I don't want this in my life right now. And you can easily chuck that mobile away
Right.
and focus on what you need to do. It all starts with choice.
Exactly. Good and bad, just the difference.
Right.
Right. How can someone get out from the feeling of being left out? Exactly. In second way, being rejected, like when they face rejections.
I agree with you. I think so. People fear rejection and people also face rejection. But why does that happen? I think so. Whenever we feel rejected, we feel judged, right? People fear getting judged by what others are going to think of them, right?
Especially.
And whenever then those people or that community is judging you wrongly or rejecting you, or you feel that they are rejecting you,
Hmm.
then automatically that will lead you to being rejected. So I think so. The simplest way is to confront rejection, is to understand whom are you making important in your life. If you say those people who are rejecting you are important in your life, right,
Right.
but in a way they are not doing anything to help you, then should you look at their rejection as judgment for who you are?
Hmm.
You shouldn't, isn't it?
Right.
Let them think what they want to think about you. It should not make a difference to you at all. But if you are getting rejected by your own people, by your loved ones, then there has to be a reason for that. Think what the reason would be. Okay, ask yourself, is there something, is there a merit in that? And confront the person or people properly, because the fact that they are your loved ones or close people means that you have an ability to talk to them and communicate with them,
Hmm. Right.
isn't it? And when you communicate with them, many times people fear talking, right? What will they think?
What will they think?
What
First
will
thought.
happen, right? It is natural for us to feel that. But when we don't communicate, right, the other person is not going to understand. You are not going to put your point through, and it's nevertheless going to lead you to feel even more rejected, feel more judged. All right, and it's just taking you, and it's just taking energy out of you, and it's just filling you up with negative energy,
Right.
right? So it's rather that first identify whom you're getting judged from. If they are not important to you, they are not important to you. If they're important to you, communicate in the right way.
What's one non-negotiable value that you will instill in your teams?
A non-negotiable value is you disrespecting your peer or your players with whom you play with. I think so that is non-negotiable. Okay, I think so respect is to be earned, and if you want the respect, you first start knowing how to give respect, right? I think so right values are the most important part of a player's journey or a person's journey. Why player? See, player is no different from a person, no?
Hmm.
Isn't it? A
Exactly.
player is a person who is uh, playing athletics. That's it.
As a profession, like.
It's a profession. So I think so, whether a player or not, your values have to be at a very high level if you want to succeed, right? So, nevertheless, value systems are the most important non negotiable in a person, especially true in a player because uh, in a sporting life, you are going to get exposed much more often, right? On the field.
Hmm.
In normal life, we don't get
We don't get
exposed,
exposure. Right. They
right?
are all there.
Yeah, but over there, they are getting exposed over there outside on the court for people to see. So, therefore, all the more your value systems, I think so, are the most important part. How you
Hmm.
respect others, how you respect your coach, how your discipline is, how you maintain trust, with the people whom you're
People.
working for. So I think so. Those are the most important non-negotiables that you can have as a person also and as an athlete also.
Right.
If that is not there, then you might succeed in the short term, but in the long term, your lack of values will take you down.
It is. What's been your most emotionally challenging moment as a coach?
My most emotionally challenging moment, I think so, the thing that comes to me very quickly, there are many, right? That sometimes you feel, player needs to do well and, you're
Hmm.
rooting for that player. But one I remember when I was with the Punjab Kings IPL team and we were playing a match, it was a must win match for us. And we were playing at Wankhede Stadium, Mumbai, and it was absolutely full.
Full packed.
And I remember that we were winning, and we were playing against Chennai, and against us was Ravindra Jadeja and MS Dhoni, and Dhoni just walked into bat, and they required about 70 runs in 29 balls. In a way, at that time, it was still a very difficult task. Nowadays, probably it's a bit
It's
more easier, but that time it was a bit. It
difficult.
looked much more difficult. And because when you know you're going to win, you're close to winning, right?
Right.
Although as a mental conditioning coach, you need to keep your mind at control. I remember my emotions being overtaken, where you could also feel that heat as
I know.
Dhoni started hitting those fours and sixes
I know.
and building the partnership,
Chennai.
building the partnership. And obviously, as Dhoni is, he took the game close, but eventually we won. And I remember the dugout, everybody was congratulating each other silently. There was no euphoria because that uh, it was more of relief that we won than joy that we won because we knew that MS Dhoni can do anything right on his day.
Right.
So you can say that that was an emotionally challenging
Challenging.
moment that I absolutely remember. Yeah, under those floodlights that day.
Oh God, I still remember when you say whenever like MS Dhoni comes, even in 2024, I guess IPL or maybe 2025, I don't know exactly. RCB versus Chennai when Dhoni was batting and it was must win for RCB at that time, even for the CSK, and Dhoni did, but finally RCB took away. But that relief, I got that. What's your best moment, like in 20 years of experience? What's your best moment that you have always? remember?
It's very difficult to single
Any.
out one best moment because there's so
I know.
many small moments that happen that sir I won, or sir I got that century, or so it's fascinating every day to get your best moments when
Right.
players call you and tell you they have won. But I think so. One of my best moments, if you want to call it, is one of my players. I will not name that player, who became a big badminton champion. He became world number one about 3 4 years back. And I remember him when he started work with me. He was still world number 50 or 60. And that time I remember he had asked me, so what does it mean to be top five in the world? He had asked me that question. And I had said, don't ask me this question. Within 6 months, you are soon going to experience it. And I said, so it's impossible. And then when I got that call, it didn't take 6 months, it took a year. But when I got that call that it actually become world number one, right, was a beautiful moment to cherish.
Exactly.
That player is now become world number one, not just India number one. He's at the top of the world. And then I asked him, how does it feel? So he says,
It's just feel.
it's just a title. He said, I don't know, I'm not feeling anything. But that's exactly, if I told you that time it doesn't feel anything, probably you would not have pursued it.
Exactly.
And then I think so, when you reach that point, that you reach the highest, then there is a different pressure that you need to maintain it. But then you also realize that when you reach the highest point, that is finally, these are all numbers, they don't matter. What beyond all of this matters is your ability to stay true to your game, stay true to your potential, keep improving, keep fighting hard. Those are the real joys of the game beyond all the numbers that you're ever going to have. And as long as an athlete stays true to these qualities of being a sportsman, where whatever you are, you'll always be number one in what you're doing. Right?
Right, exactly. Uh, your top three reasons why sports should be part of everyone's daily routine, regardless of any age or profession.
Good question. So I think so. One of the most important reason is that sports teaches you to work with people whom you might not necessarily gel with. Right? You might not be friends with that person, but you need to partner with him, right, for a common cause. And in life also, you are going to have to do that. You might
Agreed.
not like that person, you might still want to work with him in an office, right, or
Right.
in anything that you need to do. So sports teaches you to uh, respect people for who they are, and learn to work with them whether you like them or don't like them, right? And I think so that's a very great quality that you learn. I think so. Second reason why sports is an important part of your life is that sport teaches you to lose gracefully, right? No other profession you will lose so much as you lose in sports. You're failing every day, you're failing every week, you're failing every month, in spite of making the best of efforts. And failure eventually makes you humble, right? Eventually makes you understand that beyond a certain limit, you cannot control life. Just as you cannot control game, you cannot control things, and that's okay. So I think so sports teaches you how to fail. I think so that's
Exactly.
such an important quality for humans. I think so that's the second. And third, sport, I think so why you need to play sports is because there is no greater joy in succeeding also,
I
right?
agree.
Sports teaches you to enjoy the joy of fighting hard, challenging yourself, pushing yourself to the end, and then winning. Right? In any other profession, we don't really experience a win, right? You might earn money, but next day you might want to earn more.
Hmm.
You don't feel that
Okay.
pleasure of winning,
Yeah.
that win, the emotion of winning, that joy of going through that motion, and in that 2 hours actually come out and feeling and being in that. It's a beautiful emotion. It's an emotion that only players can experience, and therefore we all have the ability to experience it by playing a sport. We don't have to be a competitive sports person to
Right.
enjoy this. You can be an amateur sports person, pursue sports, and enjoy all of these three things and become a better human being as a result. So I think so these three are the main reasons why sports is an absolutely integral part of human living.
These are, one of the like best reasons someone came up, like why you need to, play sports in your life.
That's great.
Better than Google.
That's great. Of course, it's
Exactly.
going to be
Better
better
than
than
Google
Google.
and ChatGPT.
Hmm.
What's the best thing that you have learned the hard way?
What's the best thing that I've learned the hard way? Cannot think of one actually,
Okay.
but I think so. I have learned perseverance the hard way. The best thing that I've learned is perceiving at something that you believe in. Right? In my own profession, when I shifted from being an orthodontist to a mental conditioning coach, the journey was obviously difficult because I went uh, from being in a comfortable practice to getting into a very uncertain future of being a mental coach, which did not exist as a profession and still is just coming up as a profession. And I think so, perceiving in what you really believe is the right path for you is something that is very, very difficult.
Hmm.
But I thank God that I was able to persevere. And I think so, that's the best thing that I've learned the hard way.
What would be that one advice if you want to give to someone who wants to build their career in sports?
In sports,
Hmm.
just go for it. If you truly like it, if you truly want to see, I think so, whether in sports or in anything, you got to have the passion for it, right? If you don't have the passion for it, and if somebody else is doing, therefore you want to do it, that is the wrong reason to get into it. But if you have a passion for it, then what is the excuse for you not doing it?
Hmm. Right.
Today, there is no excuse for doing what you want to do.
Exactly.
For the
Today, this
first
time.
time in today's world,
Exactly.
for the first time in human history, we are at that point where we can really do whatever we want to. Because today internet is there in the smallest village. Courses are available in the
Five
smallest
Gs are there
village.
and so much in tech and
You've got all the books available digitally at a fraction of a cost. Right? You can learn and do anything that you want. Anything, literally. The only excuse is your mind that is giving you that I cannot do it. So I think so, whether in sports or in anything in life, today is the best time to do anything that you always wanted to do. So what's your chance for not doing it? What's your excuse rather for not doing it?
agree. Totally agree on this. Thank you so much for coming here and shared your insight. It really changed my mind about some of the things which I think need to be important, but very well said. It's not important. It's essential. It
Yes.
is there. So thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
actually pointing out some things which I think may be that easy, but when I talk with you, I realize it's not that easy in
Yes.
actually doing on the field and off the field. Both are different scenarios. So thank you so much, sir.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for asking the right questions.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
Okay. So, as of now that you have watched the whole conversation, you can always give your suggestion, your ideas, your discussion in the comment section below. Or you can also mail us at inspire.peopletalk@gmail.com. Until next time, stay happy.